Hey everyone, I hope you are having a fantastic weekend wherever you are, or at least just kicking back and relaxing some, which is hopefully while you're watching this video. I've got a topic that came back into the fore this week in my mind because of the launch of the Porsche Taycan that I want to talk to you about today, and that is namely why we insist collectively on comparing everything to the Tesla Model S, Model X and Model 3. I get it. Tesla is a fantastic company, has done amazing things. You know, the Roadster was a game changer. The Model S was a game changer. The Model X was a very unique, very interesting, very advanced vehicle. Autopilot is very advanced. Tesla Model 3, fantastic vehicle, great driving, great design, really good seller, you know, leading the market in lots of ways. But it's leading its segment. It's leading electric vehicles, yes, but it's not kind of king of all segments. And when we compare every other electric car that comes to market to the Tesla Model S, Model X or Model 3, I think we are personally doing ourselves a disservice. I get it, Tesla's done a lot of good in getting more people interested in electric cars than any other company on the planet today, and they should be celebrated for that. But we also need to acknowledge, as I've said many, many times on this channel, that many different people have many different requirements, and what works for one car buyer will not work for somebody else. Buying a car is one of the most expensive things we do in our lifetime, aside from buying a house, unless you are a multimillionaire and you're buying a yacht every other weekend or an Arab racehorse. Generally, for most people, buying a car is an expensive endeavor, and so it's a very personal experience. People buy cars based on how that car makes them feel. And comparing every other car on the market to just three vehicles seems disingenuous. I mean, when was the last time you heard an internal combustion engine vehicle compared to the Model T Ford? I mean, as far as I'm aware, that didn't happen. Maybe it did. Maybe someone with some historical knowledge can convince me otherwise. You know, show me the data. Show me that that did happen for years, and maybe I'll change my opinion on people comparing everything to Tesla Model 3, Model S or Model X today. But I don't think that happened back in the Model T Ford days. Yes, the Model T Ford was revolutionary in the same way that Teslas have been revolutionary. But I think we moved on from that point, and we got to the point of saying, this is a car that does really well in the segment. People will like it, or they won't like it. And some people will like it and some people won't like it, and that's okay. And so I guess I'm looking for that now. The reason why I'm talking about this is it frustrated me no end this week when people got really upset about the Taycan, its specs and its price. People comparing it to a Tesla would moan about the fact that it was really expensive or didn't have the performance specs. And if you take those specs and compare them side by side, you'd be right. It doesn't, but that's not the purpose of that car. It's not the purpose of that car to compete against any other Tesla priced vehicle. It's a very, very high-end luxury German sports sedan in its own niche market. And the kind of person who'd buy a Taycan is probably somebody who may even already have a Tesla sitting in their garage. They may also have a Lamborghini. They may also have other Porsches. They may have other high-performance sports cars. And so for them, the Taycan is not going to be a daily driver. It's going to be one of a number of vehicles in their garage. And in acknowledging that, we also have to acknowledge that this is a car that's not aimed at everyday people. And again, that is okay, because Porsche has never attempted to be that car company. It's never attempted to be, at least not in living memory, to be a car company that everybody can afford. And so I think, you know, in comparing it to a car that wants to be thought of as more affordable, Tesla really does want the Model 3 to be thought of as affordable, whether you personally believe it is or not. I have my own opinions on that. It seems unfair to compare those two. It's unfair to Tesla as much as it's unfair to Porsche. But it's not just the Taycan and the Model S and the Model 3 and the Model X that all get compared. We're doing it with other cars. You know, people compare the Chevrolet Bolt to the Tesla Model 3. And again, those two vehicles do not cross shop. If you took out the drivetrain, in other words, if you ignored it was an electric car, and you put the Model 3 and the Bolt in a traditional automotive magazine, they wouldn't be cross-sold even against each other. Now, does the Model 3 compete with an Audi? Yeah, it does. Or a BMW 3 Series, so like an A5 maybe, or a 3 Series. It would compete directly with those two cars, and so you'd expect those two cars to cross-shop against one another. And in that context, comparing the Model 3 with those cars would be spot on. In terms of the Bolt, you would be comparing the Bolt with other similarly sized CUVs or maybe smaller SUVs. You'd be cross-shopping them against other cars that were designed for the same marketplace. And this is something that the auto industry has done for years. You know, the auto industry is split up into those market segments because those market segments exist. You don't get someone, very rarely, you don't get someone walking into a dealership intending to buy, I don't know, a Ford F-150 and walking out with a Mustang. That just doesn't happen. And the preposterousness of comparing different markets of vehicles against one another just because they have the same drivetrain is ludicrous. We didn't do it before electric vehicles come along, and I don't think we should be doing it now because, yes, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, because electric vehicles were less common, there was less choice. But now there's a whole plethora of different models coming out. And I think, again, we need to accept that these vehicles are vastly different and have a vastly different target audience. And so we need to be celebrating the fact that people are making the switch from internal combustion engine to alternative lower emissions or zero tailpipe emission fuels, rather than going, well, it doesn't fit the specifications of this one vehicle that I think everybody should drive. Because frankly, that makes you a dick, and it comes across as being a bit of a put-off, I think, for a lot of people. I've talked to people who share my opinion on this, that it's kind of off-putting, and that's okay. But I also have seen people actually say, well, I wish I had known that there was a wider variety of choices. This week I saw someone say, I wish I'd have known that it wasn't just the Nissan Leaf and the Chevrolet Bolt. I wish I'd have known about all these other cars as well. And I've heard people say the same thing about Teslas. I love my Tesla, but I wish I'd known when I was buying that there were other choices available to me as well. However hard it may be to hear that, I think it's our job as people who are in the industry or supporting the industry or watching this channel and talking about it with other people to acknowledge that there is this vast different market. There's a breadth of different information, breadth of different models, and we need to make sure that the right person gets behind the right car and doesn't feel that they're pressured into one particular model just because everyone else says that that's the model they should buy. And I think when we open our minds up to that, it's really important, and it will get more people in seats. I make no bones about the fact that I'm an electric car driver. I love electric vehicles. I think they're great. I love the thrill of driving them. I like the acceleration. I love the way they handle. I like the noise, the quietness. I like the efficiency. I like the environmental aspects of driving using renewable electricity rather than fossil fuels. And so yes, I acknowledge, and I've said this in previous videos, there is some confirmation bias there when it comes to plug-in vehicles. But I think for me to tell people that you should only buy one car is wrong, and that's why Transport Evolved exists, because we believe in giving you guys all of the information you can possibly want about a particular car to then let you make your own mind up. Sometimes my personal judgment does seep through, but I hope that we get the message across that there are vast different ranges of vehicles that people can choose from, and I think that's where we need to go with this discussion. So let me know what you think about my semi-rant below. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. You can support us using Patreon. Send us a Ko-fi and or a coffee through Ko-fi even, and visit our swag store. As I said in yesterday's show, I'm on the road tomorrow all the way up to or down to LA to receive an award. So thank you to everyone who voted and nominated for Transport Evolved in that. I'm really touched. I was really surprised that came our way, and it's really nice to get a little bit of thanks for what we do. I'll be back soon, but until then, thanks for joining me. Keep evolving.